Good evening, I'm in Coventry today at the Way of the Spiritual Warrior Dojo and filming one of my regular YouTube videos on martial arts technique. I've been wanting to film this particular video for quite a while now. What I want to cover is a technique that's common to many martial arts and very easily taught, very easily performed, which is the bent elbow wrist lock, also called the S-lock, the Z-lock, the center lock. Aikido people will know it as nikkyo or nikaijo. I sometimes call it the hyperpronation wrist lock, which is a bit technical, but that is what it is. And the reason I'm filming it specifically today at this dojo is because this dojo has a skeleton. And as I say, I don't feel this technique is well understood, so I want to use this skeleton, and I've got an uke as well, to enable me to illustrate exactly how this wrist lock works. So to start with a little bit of anatomy, keeping this really simple. Don't want to turn you into orthopaedic surgeons, but this is what I do want you to understand. So on our friendly skeleton here, we've got the funny bone, the humerus, and the elbow. It's going to be the elbow that I'm specifically looking at here. Now the elbow, movement of it, firstly to hinge. And what we've got here, the head of the radius, head of the ulna, will hinge in relation to the humerus. Of particular interest, which isn't well understood, is the head of the radius is flat. And the reason that it's flat is that it rotates. And I'm going to come back to that. Distal end of the forearm, you've got the distal radius, distal ulna, and they hinge with the carpal bones. So you've got this movement, you've got this movement. The movement I'm specifically interested in, though, is rotation. Okay? And it's this. So where I go from, at the moment, palm up to palm down, supination to pronation, supination to pronation. Now, hopefully, you can already see from that as I'm turning the wrist, the head of the radius, which is flat, is rotating. Okay? These two bones are the only bones in the body that cross over. Nothing else does. Even though the leg very closely mirrors the arm, it doesn't cross over. And what's happening is as I rotate the wrist, these are crossing over, and you can see now these are in direct contact with each other. And this is how the wrist lock is working. So if I can borrow Andy. So looking at my uke, Andy, the wrist lock I'm specifically talking about is this one. And what I do here is suppress the fingers, enter, make sure the wrist bends, make sure the elbow bends, and I rotate. And there are other ways of making this work. I can straighten up here to take a grip on the back of the hand, so my thumb goes to the large intestine fork behind the thumb. I rotate, bend the elbow, and down it goes. Okay? What I'm doing there is I'm taking the back of the hand, and that's the movement I'm making. And you can probably already see that as I've entered for this lock, I've crossed over the radius and ulna, and that's where it's working. Now this is considered a wrist lock, but as you can probably see, that's not the whole truth. I'm not really working the wrist, I'm actually working the forearm, okay, to here. Now, here's a problem which we can overcome. As I rotate this, you can compensate at the shoulder, okay? As the wrist rotates, the shoulder rotates. And where this is evident is if I rotate the wrist in itself to cross these over, Andy will compensate by lifting his shoulder. And yeah, it's unpleasant, but there's nothing there. But because I understand that these cross over, I know how to deal with that. And how I deal with it is to suppress this. And again, there are different ways of doing this. You'll see Aikido classically just put in a bit of a bend here. For us karate people that like our uchi-uke, what we've got is dropping the elbow. And what that's doing here is as this rotates, where the shoulder would otherwise compensate, is I'm suppressing the elbow. So my lock is here. Okay? Should really be in the centre, hence the centre lock, but to illustrate with the skeleton, my lock is here, and I'm focused on the centre line, crossing the radius and ulna over, and suppressing the shoulder. so I have to work the forearm. So what I hope you realise from that is how this wrist lock actually works. It's not really a wrist lock, it's actually a lock at the centre of the forearm, where the primary point is actually the elbow. It's the radial head where it articulates with the humerus. So I hope that makes a lot of sense, and I hope that gives some better understanding to my various martial arts friends as to how this very common lock works. Please do make contact if you've got any questions. My thanks to my Uki for this afternoon helping me out, and to Kev, my friendly cameraman there. Hope to see you all on the mat.
Thank you.